Eastern. So every day you can dial in, be part of the show, and really, get a head start. And I think that's what today's subject matter is, because last week was all about reflection, review, strategy. Now, today, everybody's at the starting line at the LinkedIn Raceway. And how fast of a start can you get? And what are you going to do different to maybe give yourself more confidence that this year we'll be able to build on next year? And with that, we've got one of the best ones on LinkedIn here today, Gretchen Skalka, who is getting to be a regular guest and a very honored one. So Gretchen, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and, more importantly, what 2023 feels and looks like to you?
Yeah, great. Thanks. So thanks for having me, Don. Again, I really appreciate it. My name is Gretchen Skalka. I own Career Insights Consulting, and I am a career strategist and leadership development consultant. And what I do is I design personal systems for people to reach their goals, personal or professional. So that is just in a nutshell what I do. It's very customized, very high touch, but I love it because it's all about reaching your goals, which is something that everybody is hyper focused on right now, right? It's the beginning of a new year. It's when we like to do those things. And so for me, what that looks like for the business is really getting better at positioning what I can do for people, how I can support what people need so that it reaches a wider audience. And also being sure that I am really bringing real service and value to people, not just, making, spinning my wheels kind of things, because I think that a lot of people end up doing that, hoping that something will resonate. And again, this goes back to the word strategy, which I love the fact that the last, I think 4 times I've been on your show, Don, we have touched on strategy in some way. It is critically important to have that plan, that outline for anything that you do to be successful. And so that really is where I'm focused on. I think it's where a lot of people are focused on right now. Yeah. As we begin
Well, that's great. It really puts it in perspective. And everything I'm starting to see that took some difficulty turns out to be very simple once you get beyond it. But what's simple is not always easy, right? So there's a direct route between things, but you still got to journey through it. I want to do, which is so important to me, and Gretchen talked about earlier, is involve as many people in the show as possible, get as many interactions between us and them, but more importantly, or as importantly, among them and themselves, right? If you can pick up 7, 8 connections just for showing up, and also get exposed to typically 200 thought leaders after this is posted, unless you want to be the best kept secret on LinkedIn, it's like just be there. So let me recognize some of these wonderful people who took the time today. Is Shaw Zeb, thank you so much, big fan. And I don't even know the fans until they say, hi, I'm a fan. And I'd like to see a fan turn into a colleague. But more importantly, mark today as the beginning of the new you, the reinvention, the new model. I mean, when Ford comes out every year, it's the 2023, which is going to be followed by the 2024. They never say same old, and they always have new features, right? Because they're competing with themselves as well as everybody else. But more importantly, they win when they tie into their customers' best wishes and most important, value they can provide. So thank you. I'll continue with more people. Great. Hi, ma'am. I'm from Bangladesh. We are so proud to have such an international audience that we can serve. Thank you. Cynthia is here pretty much every day. I'm sorry. Here we go, Cynthia. Hello, Don and Gretchen. Great to see you. Cynthia's really been taking the bull by the horns as far as wanting to learn, wanting to grow, ask questions, being involved. I know people with 30,000 connections don't do any of those things anymore. And my advice in 2023 is get active with active people, not get active why don't you speak to that a little bit, Gretchen?
I think that's really important because again, it's the quality of the connections. And so, when we were talking about the last week, growing your network and why that's important. But again, it goes back to the quality of the connection. And so the conversation, right? That connection really does happen in the conversation. So if you're connecting with people, but you're not interacting with them, that's actually not a true connection. And there's no benefit to either one of you to have that. At some point, somebody might look at a follower count. I just shouldn't do air quotes with that, but a follower count and think, wow, that's great. But if there's no interaction there, there's actually no connection. It's a metric, but it's really kind of a hollow metric because it's not doing anything of value for either person. A number that sits there, there's no action, there's no activity. And at some point, it literally flatlines itself. And so again, the quality of that connection is everything. So you want to be involved and follow people and connect with people who you can learn from, who want to learn from you, who, have some sort of, content that resonates with you, your business, your goals, something like that. So that, there's certain reciprocity there, but that everybody is getting something valuable from that connection. That is so important on any platform. But again, with LinkedIn, remembering that it is all about connection, but it's a professional platform and it's also a marketplace. So you really want to be very clear and intentional about how you connect with people and what you bring to that conversation. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think that's vital. We've got Dennis here. Dennis is a regular. He's from Denver, where I'm from. Show up, not show off. That is so right. You know what I was thinking about over the weekend, and I did a lot of thinking because, I work really hard at this. I've been doing LinkedIn Lives every day for 7 months, 7 days a week, and posting every day for 3 years. It's all about how much you can give comfortably to as many people as possible without thinking about how do I get a return, right? It really tests your capacity to say, like if you went to the gym and say, I'm going to muscle up, right? And on LinkedIn, it's like, how many people can I better serve this year? Yeah. What more value can I bring to them? Right?
Absolutely.
If you were a nonprofit, you would say, how many more people can I serve? How much more value can I bring? How much more happiness can I ripple through this network and community that eventually will continue? And that's where you are today. Yeah. And you also have the ability, just like building a board of directors, to start choosing your colleagues for the year, right? It's like an NFL team going to the draft. It's like, hey, who worked really well? I want to keep those and reward them. Who didn't quite measure up? I know I could do better with, and they could probably do better without me. Because even when I was hiring and terminating people, I always would put it as it's just not a good match, right? I never put it like, hey, if you would have done this, you would have been here, or blah, blah, blah. And the same thing here is, what's your level of kindness? In actuality, now that we're into 2023, we're really looking at attributes, right? Yeah. We're looking at kindness, thoughtfulness, respect, things you can't put on a balance sheet or a resume, but those resonate. So let's get some more people. This is tremendous. Here's what I'm going to do. Everybody who participates, who I can show on the screen, I'll be tagging this week with 180 other people who are really cool. And there'll be a lot of unsolicited quality connection requests your way. Go ahead, Gretchen.
I love that. I was just going to say hi to Chastity. I see she's saying hi from Alabama, and I am in my dad's house here in Sterrett, Alabama, way in the country in Shelby County. So Chastity, I don't know where in Alabama you're from. If you could tell us, that'd be awesome, because I'm here too. So, and hi, Tanya and Adam and everybody. Yeah. So cool.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you, Chastity. And that's one of the benefits of me and Gretchen, teaming up, is we get the exposure of both of our networks together. And what's so fascinating, and you can check for yourself, find out who your best connections or biggest connections are, and then check how many you have in common. And you'll be surprised how little that is, even though they're the same industry, doing the same thing. Gretchen?
She's in North Alabama. Yeah. And I'm glad that Tanya's here too, because she and I are also going to start doing a collaboration that I'm really excited about. And I think that, everything that you have helped me do by inviting me to be on your live has really helped me. And I hope that I can give value to her and her audience as well. Oh, she actually has a question. Tanya does. What are your top tips
Okay.
for how to connect and not just comment and follow? Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's the
I
thing. You don't want a lot, but you want a lot with what you go after, right? So doing more with less people is better than doing less with more people. And the other thing is, I always now, before I used to be in, I didn't know any better. And that's what everybody can say. And there's so much to know. And that's why this knowledge share and this community, because if we could build 11 a.m. Eastern time every day and tell people, hey, instead of conjuring up what you haven't figured out yet on LinkedIn, why don't we join together, share experiences, share insights, support each other? And this is a great place to audition. It's like America's Got Talent, right? Come on the
I was
show, right? Go ahead, Gretchen.
I
I
was
like
actually going to
when
say,
you're excited and happy and laughing.
I know, I was, because Tanya's question is a really good one. And one of the other things that I love to do is connect other people. So I have a spreadsheet. I started my own sort of referral network for other coaches to help not only get them more exposure, but help people get the support that they need. If I'm not it, and a lot of times I'm not it, there are other really great coaches out there that I want to be sure that I know and can learn from, like Aya, who's here, like Tanya, who's here, like, that I can also share with other people to learn from and be supported by as well. So I think also a good way to grow your network and to connect is to connect other people. This show is a really great example of that. And what you've just said is, connect with the people that you see also in the comments, because I think that's a very, very important thing. When you grow that way, you grow exponentially, and you also can not only expose your network to them, but you get the benefit of that shared connection with them and their network. And it's like this sort of, infinite well of resources that you have access to completely free. And all you have to do is just go and look and see who's there. Like, I don't know if you've ever gone through your connection list on LinkedIn. Like, if you go to that tab and you just start going through them, about once or twice a month, I try to routinely go through and just message people that I haven't messaged in a while. I want to stay connected to my whole network. Now, depending on how big and small your network is, that could be easier or not. But I think if you dedicate a little bit of time to it, it really is interesting, because you'll find people who have been up to like great projects and doing new things that you're going to learn about. And then maybe that'll inspire something in you to do it, or you can share that you've also been working on something great and give more presence to that activity. I think it's huge to connect with other people and connect them to each other.
Well, and on top of that, being a third party confirmation and validating somebody. And I know we've got Kelly, who is just a wonderful person on LinkedIn. I've known her for quite a while. And she's somebody you should reach out to, check her profile. And that's an excellent connection. I mean, everybody who's on the show is someone who's there with you right now, learning with you right now, which should be the top of your list. And that goes with who's active, but also who's present. Right? Active people who aren't interacting with you, aren't supporting you, aren't meant to be with you. They've chosen that. And your opportunity, like Gretchen says, is it's like 10 lifetimes on LinkedIn. It's all in front of you. And all you have to do is be proactive. Go first. As soon as the bell rings, don't look at who else is going or what they're doing. You just drive to the finish line. Right? And then try as many people, like even better, make it a relay race where you're passing the baton and making everybody else better for your presence. Gretchen?
I will say this. I know there's been a lot of discussion lately about, numbers, sort of, dropping off and that kind of thing, because, part of the reason I think is because of time of the year, right? It's the holiday season. People have been doing other things. I know for me, my numbers did, and my numbers for other people dropped off because I was driving for 2 days to get here. And it's been, when I'm here, I have other commitments that I need to do with my dad and things like that. So it's been difficult, but I will say this, if you're connected, if your community is really strong, you will have people like Aya, like Tanya, who will reach out to you and say, hey, remember me? Like they'll hold you accountable. Accountability is so important in everything in life. And it's one of those things that I appreciate so much, that the people of my network do that for me. And I try to do that for them as well. And they'll also reach out to you for help as they're growing their businesses or they're growing their networks. They will reach out to you to say, hey, what do you think about this new branding, this logo that I've created? Or what do you think about this hook that I'm about to write about? What do you think about this proposal I'm about to make? And they want to include you in their building and future success. That is an invitation that is wrapped up with a bow in respect. And you really can't put a price tag on that. And so I think that those are really, really important parts of, again, the quality of those connections, to make sure that just as they are showing up for you and showing up to help pull you along when you have life events that happen that pull you away, and they'll, hold you to, like Aya says, to hold you accountable. That is really so important, because it's something that I think a lot of people don't think happens in digital communities, but it does, because they're real communities. So I think that that's also really important when we're talking about that quality of connection and all the different components that make that up, that are part of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, perfect. And, I think what it becomes is a great strategy and idea marketplace. Because right now, we're going to have a couple hundred people watch this. Anybody who had a question over the weekend that they're still kind of where they should be, it is really about getting feedback. There's a saying, there's no failure, only feedback. And this would be a great opportunity to say, hey, I'm thinking about this. What's people think? And all of a sudden you'll have 15, 20 people who are now thinking about what you're thinking, which now you became thought-provoking. But in turn, somebody may have an answer, right? And they'll be able to say, I did this, because there's another saying that says, stories sell, facts tell. Nobody really want to know the numbers. They want to know how did it happen for you. And they don't want to know what you should think about what they should do. And that's another way of teaching.
Yep.
Is when you say, hey, I was in the same boat as you were. And, until I figured this out, I didn't know,
Yep.
And that gives somebody an opportunity to say, well, hey, if it worked for them or it worked for me. But more importantly, how much dive-in capability do you have? How much can you immerse yourself in something? How much can you open yourself up so that you can receive more? The idea is to have more capacity by putting out more value. And if you put up enough value in front of enough people, it will hit.
Yeah.
Right? Doing more, better, faster. Go ahead, Gretchen.
Yeah. And I think too, and thank you, Dennis, for understanding. There are 2 dogs in my dad's house. One is mine, one is my sister's, and my other sister just came over to bring some things that I asked her to. So again, I really appreciate you guys and understanding. That is very important. But yeah, so going to that point, when you are giving that value to other people, it is also helping to, strengthen your position as an expert in what you do. So, that digital authority, that online authority is really important. And so the more you give to other people, the more you establish yourself that way, the more you connect with and align yourself with people who are doing the same thing, the more that also strengthens you and strengthens them. Because again, that shared network, that doubled exposure kind of thing, that compounded exposure is really, really important to get your message out there. Like you said, you can be the best kept secret in the world, but who wants to do that? Nobody's going to grow their business that way. So you want to do that. Nobody wants to be the best kept secret in the world, because, secrets don't sell anything. That's not a service. That is not providing anything of value to anybody. So yeah, network, connect, be that quality connection, help people with their networks, provide value to them, and they will do the same. It's so important. But again, also, it's important to you for your business and for your legitimacy. And it's also important for them, because you're not doing anything for anyone if you're not providing value for other people. If you're not serving anybody, you're serving nobody. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great, because the game is between you and yourself, right? You judge yourself, you set your qualifications when you're successful
Yeah.
and when you're not. You reward yourself or you don't. You can blame other people, and sometimes they deserve it, but you can't change other people, but you can change yourself. And what you got to ask yourself, if it's not where it needs to be, how do I make it better? And the best way to do it is with other people, because you always find yourself having more courage if you're at a party with 5 friends than if you're by yourself, right? Because you'll follow wherever they're going or whatever they're
Yeah.
doing. And after a while, you get bold and get involved and get
Yeah.
not bold, but familiar and informal enough,
Comfortable. Yeah.
right? That you can just say anything you want,
Yeah.
and everybody will accept you. And here's the
Yeah.
thing. The fear of rejection is really the invitation to qualification, right? If you've got 830 million people, how many yeses do you need to fill whatever you're looking for? And does your intention for the year and goals for the year match your activity? Because if you want to be a best kept secret, social media and LinkedIn probably may not be the best place. Because ultimately, what you have to remember is, if you're successful, everything depends on duplicatability, right? If you're the only one that ever do it, teaching others it won't help, And I think that's so important. And let's just keep going through. We got Kelly. Boy, it's great to have you. Dennis, agree, show and tell. Well, we've got a new individual here. Jolene, I would love to connect. I'm an emotional intelligence coach and founder of Emotional Theater. Well, that's an invitation for everybody. Tanya, love this, Gretchen. I have a coaching business group that meets monthly. Most of my guest speakers are humans I have met on LinkedIn. Ariel Lee is my next guest speaker, financial planner. Gretchen, you are brilliant. Well, that's a pretty nice thing. Aya, absolutely, Gretchen. If you need to take care of something, not a problem.
No. My sister, she's just saying goodbye. She has to leave. So I just wanted to, I know it's awkward. I know.
Sure.
Sorry.
Emotional sounds interesting. These are just great comments, and again, this is a good fast start. Go first, yes, to make it a relay race. Dennis, relay race better than a delay race. Dennis has got so many of these rhyming things.
That's good.
Accountability, so key.
Yeah. Yes.
May, strong connections build strong relationships. Oh. Yeah, and you're the person who's putting one brick on top of each other and building for the future, right? If you were building your house, what would you make it out of? Strongest thing you could. Make it to last.
Yeah.
Good to be dog smart. Thank you. Good thing you can't hear my 3 dogs howling. See, we have so much empathetic support today. Oh, all the hearts, can't beat it. I don't know if we should ever get off the show. Hello, Adam. Hello, Aya. Nothing like that. May again. Lots of good emojis. Boy, this is a lot of scrolling.
Yeah, it's good. I love the interaction too. Yeah.
And Adam, thank you. You've made some very strong contributions. You'll be tagged tomorrow. And hopefully, by what I'm doing, John's here. John's a great guy. I've been communicating with him. Good day. Definitely teaching others to help themselves. I made a regenerate of myself, and I healed my body when medicine. Love external positivism. Negative charge, all in my coming book. Regards and grateful to listen to. Well, it's a pleasure to have you. I know you circulate between 2 countries. Cynthia, I don't know why I'm having an issue. I'm not seeing some other people on here. Do you know why? I don't know. And hello, Cynthia. So you got a hello. So, getting back to the fast start, I think, what we've covered in most instances today is more mindset, more attitude, more openness, all of the
Yep.
intangibles, the things you can't see on a balance sheet. But
Yeah.
it's the little things that stick with people. And people know what niceness is, people know what support is, and it's rare, which means it has value if you
Yeah.
can achieve that. Gretchen?
I will say this too. You know, there's the when I was still in my corporate career and running my department, you know, one of the things that I would always caution people against, and this, well, I'll flip it in a second, is don't engage in like gossipy stuff. Don't engage in drama. There's no upside to engaging in drama. And the other side of that is there is total everything to be gained from supporting other people. When you are supportive of other people and you shout them out and you call attention to what they are doing, it does not diminish you. It builds you up because it tells people the kind of person that you really are. Collaborative people build themselves while they're building other people. And everything that's built, like there's a reason for that. That is just positive energy. So, you know, and there's drama on LinkedIn, there's drama everywhere. Don't participate in that. Participate in what you can do of value, not just for, you know, the service that you might provide or the business that you have, but to other people in your network. You know, when you find out that a connection of yours is working on a movie, a book, or a new project, a new business, they're considering, support that, help them find resources for that. I love doing that for people. It's just very fun for me. People who want to get into writing. I was a reporter for a while, then an editor, then went into marketing, and now I you know, I do my coaching. But you know, that is really important to me, not just to connect with and be a quality connection, but also to provide value to my connections. I think that's really important. And so, you know, if that was one piece of advice for starting fast into 2023, it's figuring out who, you know, you can provide value to. Even if you don't have a business, that's okay. If you don't have something that you're trying to promote other than just yourself, do that. You are super interesting and you have so much value to provide to other people. And just helping them understand that even if there's just like a common shared experience, that's important to people. You can build relationships on that. And then you never know where those are going to go. So I would just say, you know, just get involved in all the good stuff and build, champion other people, call them out, shout them out when they do something great. Even if they're not shouting out themselves, help them understand and celebrate every win that they make. And that will help you in so many ways. I mean, it's just so hard to articulate it from an internal way, how you'll feel about yourself, but also the message that it sends to other people about the kind of human being that you are. You mentioned kindness. Absolutely. You know, being supportive of other people and anything that they're doing. I think that it's really important. That kind of energy grows, it feeds on itself, and it fertilizes everything. It's wonderful. So yeah, I want to see a whole lot more of that going on in 2023.
Well, you know, you got 90% of the game already in, and it's really just allowing it to happen. Cynthia has a great point. When she was an agent, she would always say, because you're number one, you know, if you put people first, they'll put you first in their time. And the other thing is don't worry what you get for the value you bring.
Exactly.
Just make sure the value you bring is worth the value that people receive. And eventually, it's just like sampling. You know, if sampling didn't work, Costco wouldn't have it. You know, but everywhere you go is you take a little piece of a cheesecake and it tastes so good because it's just a little piece and you're hungry and you've been walking around, you buy the whole cheesecake. Don't be afraid to give samples away, previews, right? And if people can sustain themselves on previews, God bless them, you know, it works for them. But if someone says, I want to get somewhere faster, better with someone I trust, then say, okay, what can we do? Because if you're going to get more value than you contribute, it's an investment instead of a risk at that point, right?
Oh,
if I
yeah.
give you a $20 bill for $10, you're not going to think, well, what happens if it doesn't work out? It already worked out, you know? And the question is, are you the kind of person when someone says, you know, I trust you before you have to trust me?
Yeah.
You know, I'll lend you something before I have to borrow from you. And the beauty of it is, if they say no, it moves everybody along faster to where they need to be.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gretchen. What do you think? I want one more thing. Share this with everybody if you can, because this is not only a way of promoting the show and me and Gretchen, but it promotes you because you're on the show. So we're all in
Right.
this together. And the bigger and better we can make it for each other, because this group, even if it's 200, 200 out of 800 million is like a drop in the ocean. But we can
Mhm.
do some wonderful things for some wonderful people together
Yeah.
we couldn't have
Yeah.
done on our own. And that's where collaboration and leverage is. Gretchen?
Absolutely. And it goes back to what you're saying about not, looking at the outcome or what you're going to get out of it. One of the things that I always used to tell my guys, and I told it to myself for a long time, is if you are so focused on what you're going to get, and I'll put this in like, career terms, right? If you're so focused on the title that you want to have or the salary that you think you should have and those kind of things, you're probably not paying attention to the things you need to do to achieve that. So pay attention to the other people, the everyday, the what you're doing, the value that you're bringing. What are you doing? Don't worry about those things. They will come. They will happen just organically.
Mhm.
I say that from lived experience. They will happen, but don't let that be your focus, because if that's your focus, you're missing a whole lot of other stuff because your perspective is on the wrong thing. Your focus is on the wrong thing. And so if you just, reorient that and just look at what you can do, what you can give, what you can provide to the bigger picture, the organization, the team, other people, whatever it is, your network, that will come back to you. That you don't even have to worry about the end result, the reward, or any of those things, because they will naturally come to you because you are building that all along the way. So again, I would just to reinforce what you just said is don't worry about that. Don't put yourself on a timeline. That's another thing that I think a lot of people, especially when new year, all those kind of things, we live in such an immediate gratification society. We want numbers now. We want the end result now. We want this now. I mean, again, I could use my phone and well, not out here in Sterrett, Alabama, but when I was, home in South Florida, I can have food delivered in an hour. I can get an Amazon package in a day or two. Like, we're so used to that. Give yourself the time to not be pegged to time, and things will happen. Just do the thing that you want to do that makes you happy, that gives value to other people, and everything else, like dominoes, will just fall into place. It will. Trust that it will. That's the other thing too. Give yourself that grace. Trust that it will.
Perfect. And, I think to layer onto that, it's so important to decide how much happiness and fun you're deriving. In other words, would you keep going
Yeah.
to a place like a bowling alley if every time you had a bad experience, or a movie show if you just got scared every time?
Yep.
So, what you have to do is really allow yourself to say at the end of the day, did I enjoy what I did here? Was it worth
Yeah.
it? That's only two questions. You don't even have to do a lot of puzzles or graphs or anything.
Yeah.
And if you said no, why are you going to do it again that way?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Fast forward, and where is this leading? And you see, the thing is, it's a long game, takes a lot of patience and perseverance, a lot of self support. You got to be your
Yep.
best cheerleader. Sometimes you're the only person you got, because at the end of the day, you go home to yourself, right? And you've got to be accountable, or you should
Yeah.
be, if you're looking to make things better. But here's the reason, because everybody says, well, I'm not getting anything. Now I want to give more to more people and create more value. And it seems backwards, but there's that saying, a frown is a smile put upside down,
Yeah.
right? And if you were to readjust your goal towards others, because here's the real beauty, is when you're involved with something bigger in yourself and more people in yourself, you don't worry about yourself so much,
Right.
you know? And if you're focused on Cynthia getting her next position, or going off and being entrepreneurial, well, while you're waiting, someone else has been served. I think of it as all perspective. If there were two people sitting at a dining table and one great meal showed up, I'd be happy to let the other person eat first. I wouldn't say, how do
Yeah.
we split it? I wouldn't say, hey, I was here first. or I'm paying for it, so I should eat first. Because
Right.
you can look at just that simple example as being that other person. How would you feel if
Yeah.
someone sincerely, with respect, said, listen, I know you love this meal, and I love it too, but not as much as you, or I know you're hungry and I'm not, as long as you can give a reason, someone would say, that hardly ever happens to me. That's what you
Hmm.
want people to say. This person had such an act of kindness just because of them, right? And I should at least remember, recognize, and talk about. And that's
Yeah.
what you want to do. If you want to go viral, you want the people to talk about what you did, what you said, what you did for them. Because that will be, hey, if it happened for me, it could happen for you. And we don't have to work that hard. We just got to get on the train and be a
Yeah.
good passenger, a good citizen, and then get people to know us for who we are. And if people don't really attract to us as well, it means we've got to get in front of the mirror again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or more importantly, and that's the beauty, maybe going back into yourself is where you've been too long, is you need to be strong enough to say, I know something isn't right. Can we talk about it?
Yes.
I know
Yes.
I'm doing this and here's my intention, but here's what I'm starting to pick up. I'm not sure, right? So you
Yeah.
don't judge anybody or anything. I'm just curious. I'm not sure. I want to get it right. I value your judgment. You see,
Yep.
when people come to you and they are sincere and they say, I've got this issue, I'm working hard at it, I came up with this, I tried it with you, and here's what I got. And maybe it
Yep.
was their assistant that shuffled it off or whatever. But the point is, you got to be your best advocate. You got to be proactive. You got to compete with yourself, and then you'll outdistance the field,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Gretchen, in
Yeah. No,
closing, what would you like to say?
yeah, I just think in closing that, what Cynthia's saying, empathy and kindness, the more that you can radiate that back, the more it will shine back on you. It absolutely is. We talk about life being a mirror and those kind of things, but, just if you don't believe it, do your 30-day challenge. And everybody loves a 30-day challenge or a 7-day challenge or whatever it is, how many days you want to do. But just challenge yourself. Do it. Do that thing that you wish other people would do to you. Show them the courtesy, help them out, just whatever it is, but show that, do that, make it consistent. Just like you showing up every day and posting every day for 3 years, doing a LinkedIn Live every day, like show up and do that. Be there for other people and just watch, take inventory at what begins to happen and show up for you in your life. You will be so happy. You'll do this. And then we can talk about it on one of your next lives, like a month from now, like put it in your calendar so that we can actually, because again, you will have people that will show up and say, I wasn't sure. I tried it. I'm so blown away. And that will now become habituated in your activity. And you will now be that person who does that for other people. And then the cycle continues and the ripple gets bigger. And that's how it happens. Yep.
Well, and the beauty of it, as you're giving, you're kind of auditioning, right? So you've got the opportunity to say, okay, while I'm cooking you up a meal, I just want to share all about how I got to this meal and everything else and how important it is. I mean, if it's sincere, if it's given in the right way, it's remembered, right? And be known before you're needed. And also it gives you a chance to qualify the other person based on their reception.
Yeah.
Right? If you get a bad reception, they go off the list and a new person comes in. So you're either going to be with people that you will start and grow with or start and move on from. But do it
Yes.
because you're controlling the activity. And if you had a lineup of people outside your door, every new person in that line, you'd get more particular with. Right? It's like going shopping after you ate a big meal or going shopping if you're terribly hungry. Right? Everything starts looking pretty good when you're hungry. Everything is like too much when you're full. And that's where balance has to come in. That's where coaching comes in, is because coaches aren't meant to change you. They're meant to help you make certain adjustments based on getting a fair reality reflection from the person. And that's where trust and confidence. And if you see
Yes.
Gretchen enough and me enough, and you say, hey, I want to buy some vowels. I want to skip some of this time and effort, and I want to work with some people who will make me better as a person first,
Yep.
and then maybe as a commercial vehicle later. And you know what you find? And I found it. There's so many times you contribute so much goodwill to people that you never have to or need to ask for it back. Right?
Yeah.
If you start opening more bank accounts and making more money, you're not thinking about where you're going to withdraw the old money from. You're going to let it sit. And if at the end of the day, you just created unbelievable value at no risk or cost to anybody else, that's gratification, because that's something that lives beyond you, right?
Yeah.
It's a legacy that ripples and continues to ripple. And it's really, how do you start the river that will eventually turn into an ocean? You know what it is? It's bringing people together, aggregating effort, sharing how you can do it. LinkedIn Live is so perfect because you can watch from a shadow and nobody knows you're there. You can move closer to it. You can put your name down. You can ask a question. And you know what?
Yep.
I'm sure if anybody here who is really fascinated or interested in Gretchen or myself, feel free to message us.
Yeah.
Right? And set up a call, because I'd love to know why you're here. I'd love to know what you're getting out of it. I'd love to see if you want to be part of it, because I would advocate, if it's good for me, it's good for people like me. Right? So get your own LinkedIn Lives, become a guest here. I'm actually thinking about getting panels together, because there's no way I can, and put 3-4 people on a subject, because that would be fun if you went from every day to maybe every week.
That'd be so fun.
And make it an hour and have all the 4 or 5 people announce it and support it.
Yeah.
And see what we could do. So there's going to be some real power in change. And one thing I definitely know that's always proven to be true, I'm going to learn things in the next year and meet people in the next year I never thought of or could have, and that's exciting. It's always nice when there's something behind the curtain. And every time you open a curtain, it gets better, and you can reach that level just because of association. I mean, it's just the way it is. Who you're with has an impact. Adam is got the biggest yes I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Cynthia is empathy and kindness are so important. And I think that's what we're promoting so well. But with this, I know we always try to keep it to like 30, but I'm glad we didn't, because there was so much interaction. And let's use this as a launching pad for more LinkedIn Lives and for more interactions and some bold activity. Challenge yourself, stretch. Ask yourself how much you're stretching every day. And is there a little bit of fear? And that's where you want to be, with just a little bit of trepidation, but not something's going to paralyze you. Nothing's going to set you back. And the other thing is accountability is so important. I'd love to see people come back to tomorrow's show or next week's show and say, I just tried this and this is what worked, right? And that would even be more powerful. And it would give you something you can pat yourself on the back, because while you're working for others, you can still work pretty hard for yourself.
Yeah.
Just don't expect others to be working hard for you in the beginning. That's all. So don't wait on anybody. Make it happen for yourself.
Just
make it happen for others. And after a while, you get good at making it happen. One last thing, Mr. Beast, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but anyways, he's the #1 earner on YouTube. He made $40 million last year. And he's going to go public and value his company at $1.5 billion. And I've seen him, one video, he took a homeless man, gave him $10,000. He bought a whole grocery store and invited all these people who needed food in, and they cleaned them out.
Yeah.
And that's how he started, but look at what he got. So, I mean, at a smaller scale, at our scale, and one last thing, start where you are, with who you are, with what you got now, and it'll change as soon as you start doing things. So, do little things right over time, will compound. When you're curious, use that as a poll in your post. Reach out. Don't keep anything in. Either get rid of it, share it, or build on it, right? There's only 3 speeds. So anyways, I can talk, Gretchen can talk. That's why we're here. We love to talk, but we love to listen and we love to change, so we're depending on you to help us make the right adjustments to bring as much value, be as much as relevant, because what's good here will be good on LinkedIn from here for all of us. So thank you again. Gretchen, you want to say last goodbye?
Yeah, I just really appreciate everybody coming out. I love, I know almost everybody who is here, which is wonderful. And I will second what Adam is saying. Panel discussions are great. If you want to do that, Don, I am all about it. I know that Aya and Adam and probably Tanya too. I mean, like, that is such a great idea that you just had. So yes. And I just, yeah. And I just really thank you for having me on here. It's such a treat to get to talk to you and your audience every week. So
well, you get better every time also. And you can tell, just like what we talked about earlier, is Gretchen's having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm having a lot of fun. And that by itself shows that we're real. You can't imagine fun in front of people. It's just hard to do. So it's genuine, it's authentic, and it builds on next week, because whatever the subject matter is, we just throw the ball in, right? Yeah. It's whoever kicks in where it goes is where the action goes. Aya says, thank you, Aya. It's so great to have you. And you're definitely on the right track. So this could be the best year ever. Let's see what we have here. Okay. And last comments from Adam. Thank you. You're very welcome. Poonam, great guy. Thanks, boss. Poonam's an everyday regular. And we'll let you know on latest events. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful beginning of your new year. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time every day. Thank you and bye for now.